Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be continuing the module short story narrations for the various operators in Arknights. Today with the one for Executor, the Foedere. Now, before we begin, we are as always gonna go into the short story first and then into what the module does for the operator. However, before we begin, quick note to make, and that is regarding spoilers, because this module short story takes place shortly after the events of Hortus de Escapismo. What I'm trying to say here is it contains some pretty significant spoilers for the story, and especially because of certain elements of the story regarding Executor and his growth as a character as well. This one will have quite a bit more impact if you are familiar with the events of Hortus, and as a bonus on top of that, if you're familiar with Executor a bit on top of it. But if you're someone who doesn't have the opportunity or time to go through the whole story themselves, in the description of the video is the entire playlist for Hortus de Escapismo, both narrated and voice acted in its entirety, so just sit back, relax, put it on, and you will get the entire picture. Plus it includes extra bonus material to expand on certain elements and characters. But yeah, anyway, enough with that, let's go into our story. And like I said, if you have gone through Hortus, the art already for this module should be quite a... it should paint quite the picture already. But anyway, the module and the short story are titled Unanswered. And it goes as follows. Federico, how's this one? Extrapolating based on the Sanctilaminium Ambrosi on the wall searchlight covers. It has not been used in at least a year. It looks a little worn, but the size is about right. We'll just have to cut it open down the middle, wipe it clean, then we can place that flower inside. Have you obtained the inhabitants' permission? Oren dragged a batch of supplies over when he sent the commandos, and these are the scraps the inhabitants don't need anymore. Leave it to me once we're on overtime. I don't want to see you cracking it open by hand. We have at most an hour before the monastery resumes its journey. We'll make it. That reminds me though, Federico. What is it? I don't believe that Gardener left a will. Monastery resident Clement Dubois has received an appropriate burial. He did not leave behind an executable will, nor any other personal estate. You know what I'm trying to ask, right? You wish to understand why I'm preserving this flower. This isn't your first time handling an assignment with so much baggage, right? But I've never seen you leave a keepsake for yourself before. Are you doing okay? My assignment is complete, but there are still unaddressed doubts raised by the Sanctilaminium Ambrosi. If I'm remembering correctly, there was this quote from some saint: a gun needs a target, but not every question can have an answer. I cannot overlook any issues. They will directly impact any follow-up assignments. What am I even worrying over? Wait, don't tell me you questioned His Holiness when you went to report the mission progress. I did, but did not receive an answer. So that's why you're insisting on giving a nearly burned out flower another drying. Now I get it. Still, I have to say one thing. Whether you keep it preserved or not doesn't depend much on this glass bell I'm cutting. It's already dead. It's not the flower it was before, Federico. Richelle, your word count in this conversation is significantly above average. Just making small talk. And I'm not even going to ask where you got that average from. Alright, it's settled. After we give this a wash, we'll stick it onto the pedestal. It'll be as pretty as what they sell in stores. Thank you. Federico takes the grimy glass bell from his co-worker's hands and walks out of the junk-filled shed. Well then, what kind of answer will you find, Laterano's newest saint? And that is our short story. Like I said, contains spoilers, but yeah, paints again quite the interesting picture about Federico and his sort of growth towards more understanding of emotions, potentially. But anyway, Let us now go to the traits and talents on default before we take a look at what the module will upgrade. So first, trait, cannot be healed by allies. Attacks deal AoE damage and he recovers 50 HP for every enemy unit hit up to his block count, which means that if there are at least 2 enemies in his range, he will be recovering 100 HP, 50 per enemy. If there's more than 2 enemies, he will only be still recovering 100 HP in total, cause it goes up to the block count and the block count is 2. However, a quick reminder, his skill 2 does have, just to show it very quickly, does have a block count of +1, which means that if you're using him with this skill, that will be more HP recovery, an additional 50. Next, his talent, the Chosen One. Attacks have a 20% chance to hit twice. This chance will increase by 5% for each ammo consumed while a skill is active, resetting when the skill ends. So to better explain this is a twofold talent. The first part, attacks have a 20% chance to hit twice, is on by default, no matter what. The second part, which is the chance increase of 5% per ammo consumed, is what activates when you activate a skill or he activates a skill by himself, considering his skill 1 is a auto activation skill. But doesn't matter, each time he will use a bullet, the chance to hit twice will go up by 5%. The second talent, Empathy by Shotgun, for every Laterano operator deployed, increases the ammo capacity of this unit's ammo-based skills by +1. This will cap out at 4+ ammo. So if you are using a lot of Laterano operators together with Executor, the skills will be, the ammo-based skills will be buffed. Basically, he will be longer in this state. For example, by default, skill 1 is 8 ammo once it's activated. Skill 2 is 12 and skill 3 starts on 16. In the same order, that would mean 12, 16, and 20 ammo if you have deployed 4 Laterano operators. Now then, to the module. Before I click on it, the module is already on stage 2, so the stats and everything will be reflected for stage 2. So then, first and foremost, the base stats will go up, the attack and defense stat, and his attack speed. Attack speed will go up on stage 2 by +6. By default, on stage 1, the trait will be buffed and he will be now recovering 60 HP per enemy hit up to the block count. So instead of a total of, or rather a maximum of 100, or if you are using skill 2, 150, this is now 120 or 180. Now, the first talent is getting quite the buff, especially already on stage 2. Stage 3 you'll see later. So, we went from 20% chance to hit twice to 30% chance to perform an additional attack, aka hit twice, that also ignores 150 defense. So, not only will he hit twice, the additional attack will ignore 150 defense. That is significant. The second portion of the talent, which is a 5% chance, 5% increase to this chance each time a bullet is consumed, will stay the same on each stage, but now it requires less ammo, of course, to get to, to have it permanently on. As an example, you would need 14 shots in total, 14 ammo consumed in total, for the skill to be on 100%, aka completely on. Probably best chance to have that happen, best chance to have that happen would be on his skill 3, which gives him by default already 16 ammo or 20 ammo if you consider his second talent, and he can keep going for a while with that one. Now, what do we get on stage 3? On stage 3, obviously base stats go up, attack speed goes up by another 1, the base chance to trigger on the Chosen One talent goes up by another 5%, so we are now at 35% chance to perform an additional attack, which will also ignore 300 defense. So we doubled up on the defense ignoration on that chance. which is nuts. Basically turns a lot of enemies just into paper. And the second portion of the talent remains the same on that level, which is the 5% increase every time a bullet is consumed, ammo is consumed, which now means that instead of 14 shots, he needs only 13 shots to be permanently active with that skill, and that is quite the buff. Essentially, by default, he's already fine, but stage 2 already makes him, makes him into a monster. If you're someone who runs Laterano units quite a lot of snipers, of course, considering most of them are, well, pretty much all of them, if I'm not mistaken, outside of him now, are sniper-related operators. Yeah, he will do damage. He will do a lot of damage. Especially keep in mind that block count can go also up, not just by his second skill, but by certain enemies that once they are physically blocked by him, the just proximity and block of the enemy or passive from the enemy will be increasing block count. So for certain stuff, he can turn into quite the monstrosity of a character. But yeah, anyway, that will be it for the module and the short story. Hope you enjoyed. As always, if you like this video, consider leaving a like on it. It will help me out a lot. Stumbling over, pardon. Help me out a lot in the algorithm, so thank you very much. If you're new to the channel and want to hear more module stories, narrations, and so on and so forth, consider subscribing. And if you want to support me and my work more directly, there are memberships on the channel, 3 of them in total. They're all super cheap, and as always, they're just there to support the channel itself, me and my work, of course, as well. And will never have any kind of videos barred behind that paywall. It is purely a monthly tip. But anyway, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.